Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Substack. So, for this week's topic on my video, I want to talk about something that I have discovered when I've used coaches in the past and in the present. I've had good coaches, I've had great coaches, and I've had okay coaches. So, one thing that I think sometimes we may encounter is when someone gives us blanket advice in coaching. And when you're doing one-on-one session with a coach, you want the coach to understand you and to understand your background, your business, obviously what you want to do with your business, your perspective, your experience, just to get a good picture of who you are, because that is why we pay for one-on-one coaching. Otherwise, we can take a course and that would be more blanket advice for the business that you want to have. But if you're seeing someone one-on-one, you want to get that personalized experience. So a coach has to understand you. They have to really get your world. And that means that they do have to ask you questions about yourself, and they also have to pick up on who you are based on the way you're expressing yourself, on the things you're telling them about yourself, about your business, all of these things. So they have to be good at picking things up, they have to be intuitive, because you don't want to fall into the trap of a coach just telling you, well, just do it, right? Just do XYZ, or just go for it. And just kind of pushing through your fears and pushing through your blocks. And um, that's very simplistic. That's a simplistic way of looking at coaching, at business coaching, I think. And I'll give an example. I had a coach a few years ago, and there was something specific that I was trying to do in my business, and I was really afraid. So I had a major block, and that's why I hired this coach. And I think the coach was getting frustrated with me because I just wasn't pushing through. The block was still there. And they were giving me very logical reasons why I should just ignore my fears. And they were making me feel like, okay, it's totally fine to do this specific thing. And here are the reasons why. And they were all very logical and very theoretical. Like they all made sense. But on a subconscious level, for me, it felt destabilizing. It was scary. And I think the coach also didn't understand my existence, the way that I live my life, my expenses, my responsibilities, and also my relationship to risk. I'm a little bit risk averse. I'm risk moderate, I want to say. And so far I haven't changed this about myself. So if somebody comes in and tells me to take this huge massive risk, I'm probably going to feel very destabilized if I do that. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to feel anxious all the time. We don't want to be fearful all the time. We want to build businesses that feel good to us, first and foremost. So, this experience with this coach that I had was interesting because we just kept hitting the same block. I still felt afraid in my body. I felt afraid. I felt uncomfortable of taking this next step. And this coach started to give me examples of people who took major steps in their businesses and succeeded greatly. But every one of those examples was not in the industry that I was in. It was not exactly the business that I had or my background, or it wasn't like, oh, here is someone just like you and they did XYZ and they succeeded. None of that. There were examples of other people in their particular businesses, and it's like great for them, like awesome. Um, but they weren't in my specific situation. So those examples didn't land with me. they were trying to be encouraging and inspiring, fantastic, but it didn't land because it wasn't specifically what I was struggling with at that time. So the block still stayed. I still didn't feel like doing this particular thing that I hired this coach to do because I still felt I didn't feel convinced that it was the best move. And so we parted ways and it was all great. And, sometimes that needs to happen. Sometimes things just don't work and you just have to try it out. And this was a few years ago. And so now we are in this position in the mental health industry that is interesting. It's a bit unique. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's some tough things happening. And if I had made the decision a few years back to do the thing that I wanted to do that I was so afraid of, I don't think I would have been in a great place today. So I didn't follow the coach's advice, even though this coach was working really hard to get me to my goal, but I didn't follow it because on a subconscious level in my body it felt wrong. So when you work with a coach, you want to be very careful with assessing how things feel in your body and even communicate that to the coach. If they are a good coach and if they are receptive to that, um, you should be able to open up in that way and say, this feels very weird in my body. Like it feels like it's not me, or it feels like I just don't want to do this. Because oftentimes a coach will get you to do something that you're not doing already, right? That's kind of why you're hiring them. However, we are most powerful when we are our authentic selves, when we do something, we take some action from our authenticity. So if another person comes in, a third party comes in, a coach, right, comes in, and they are telling you to do something, do X, but this isn't your natural way of doing things, it's gonna feel off. And more likely than not, it's not going to succeed because it's not your authentic power that is being used. So a good coach will discover your power, will be attuned to who you are. So they discover your authenticity, they discover where your power lies, and they give you ideas, advice, and insights that match who you are. So it's not this blanket advice of, just be outgoing or be salesy or be charming, be charismatic. I'm going to give you all these examples of all of these people who have done it. It's like, okay, but what is your way of being charismatic? What is your way of being convincing? What is your way of being a leader? Let me understand that about you. And then I'm going to guide you beautifully so that you can go down this path in a harmonious way. So that's what I believe good coaching is. But however, with every coach and with every experience, you can always get something from it. So even if you hire a coach who doesn't take you very far, that's okay. You learn something. You learn what you don't need, or you learn what you don't want. And it's all a learning experience. But I think a good coach is a person who's really taking the time to get to know you and spending a little bit less time giving you stories, giving you anecdotes, talking about other people who have made it, who may not have the same path that you do. So I hope this tip was helpful, and I'll see you next week.